as we've uh, allowed you all to know, as the ancestors have allowed us all to know, that our knowledge and the information, which is ultimately the information of ourselves, of our divinity, that knowledge, that science, that understanding has been over time appropriated by our oppressors, colonizers, our enemies, that we refer to as the aberrant man. And it was in the plan of the ancestors to allow them to appropriate this knowledge for safekeeping, to become the custodians of this knowledge for safekeeping as we went through this progressive alchemical process of decomposition, of dissolution, of disintegration, as we went through this fall, okay? The allegory, the allegorical tale or narrative that details this thing, that details the fall and details multiple elements and aspects of the fall. The one that best does that, in my estimation, is the Gnostic tale. The Gnostic tales, in particular, the hypostasis of the Archons. The hypostasis of the Archons. We've gone over this before, and we've used this as a template to structure a framework relative to emanation and relative to the fall into the physical realms. We've used it multiple times, and we're going back again to it now. So we're going to look at this primordial plunge, as it's termed in the Gnostic tale, the primordial plunge into the waters below. The hypostasis of the Archons and other cosmological treatises describe how Yaldabaoth, write that name down, Yaldabaoth, Yadabaoth, emerges from the chaos of elementary matter due to the impact of the ion Sophia in the waters below. We should all be aware, acutely aware, and knowledgeable of this particular subject, this imperfect plunge, or this imperfect plunge into the physical realms, the realm of the galactic arms outside of the galactic core, or the pleroma. Sophia's plunge from the core produces an abortion, or premature, hence flawed or defective, birth or outcome or effect in the elementary realms. Normally, life forms that appear in the star worlds of the galactic arms are emanated from within the pleroma, infused and informed by divine design before they manifest. But the archons produced by Sophia's impact arise without having been prefigured by the so-called pleromic gods, that is, worlds or energetic powers. The abortion, that is, the birth defect, is formless, malformed, defective, or incomplete. We've talked about this. We've emphasized this over and over again. Is a formless, malformed, defective, or incomplete mess, like a premature fetus with its organs completely formed, incompletely formed, its faculties, intellect, memory, awareness, consciousness, etc., stunted. Now we're talking about this in personified, allegorical uh, terms, but I want us to understand this energetically, and we are going to uh, give this energetic proportions. But I want us to uh, follow the narrative, because the narrative is, there's a lot of wisdom in there. Premature births are usually caused by complications with the mother and often result in debilitating problems or complications, that is, birth defects in the newborn or in everything that is born from that imperfect or premature process. As a result of Yaldabaoth's, that is, Yahuwah or Jehovah's, premature apparitional birth, he is born or emanates into existence with a number of considerable birth defects. Not only is he born blind, that is, severely lacking in or totally bereft of a clear and accurate perception of his surroundings, he is also born a fool, that is, ignorant of his proper origin, oblivious to his source, divine origin, and intelligence or presence higher, that is above, that is inherent within but hidden from him. As a result of these congenital deficiencies, and again, we're talking about an energetic field, and giving it human proportions for simplicity. Yaldabaoth erroneously assumes that he must be self-existent and therefore the creator of all he beholds. Therefore, he presumptuously and boastfully declares, as it states in the scriptures, I am, and there is none beside or above me. The same spiritual or perceptual blindness is epitomized in the following declaration by the so-called creator in the scriptures. The creator, what we understand as the creator in the scriptures, is actually an aspect of ourselves that created the matrix. Does that make sense, family?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
I am the first and I am the last, and beside me there is no God. Is there a God beside me? Yea, there is no God. I know not any. I am the Lord, and there is none beside me. There is no God beside me. This is letting us know that that is the Demiurge aspect of divinity speaking. That part of us, that part of our consciousness that created the simulated matrix. Thus,
Mm-hmm.
Yaldabaoth, Yahuwah or Jehovah, etc., represents the false conception or notion of masculine divinity or a creator without its opposing, harmonizing, balancing, complementing, fulfilling, or completing feminine consort or counterpart. Going into more detail, and I'm going to show you how we're going to relate Yaldabaoth, this allegorical character, with what we see here. Not relative to simply the oceans below, or the oceans in outer space, but what this article calls the unseen environment and dominant collective energy field that
Mm-hmm.
keeps us locked into the simulated matrix.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was demonstrated, family, over and over again in the scriptures, especially in Genesis, the 11th chapter, where Yaldabaoth and the Archons, that aspect of us that knew, uh, had to keep us locked into the simulated matrix, said, uh, confound their language and what?
Yes.
Scatter them, divide them.
Mm-hmm.
Are you all with me?
Okay.
That is an intelligence, a flawed intelligence that is adversarial against our rise, adversarial against our connection to our higher selves, and has mitigated against that and continues to mitigate against and oppose that to this very second.
Mm-hmm.
And it is demonstrated in the scriptures over and over again. We've given you examples, and we're going to continue to give examples of that. Yaldabaoth the Demiurge, the origin and ascension of the patriarchal God and creator of the simulated matrix. He is
Mm.
God, the
Mm-hmm.
dominant energetic field, and the creator of the
Mm-hmm.
simulated matrix.
Yes.
All right?
Yes. Yes.
So this is an
Makes
aspect
sense.
of us.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
you see, it is represented, this energy is represented as a serpent with a lion's head. And we see that representation with a lion's head. Now remember, the symbol of Malkuth, of the kingdom, is the lion, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The lion of the tribe of Judah. That conception keeps you locked into the simulated matrix.
And Ita, aren't we experiencing the Lion's Gate?
The lion's portal is opening at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Mm-hmm.
good. It started yesterday
Yes.
and it's continuing through the 13th. So this is
Mm-hmm.
why this teaching is coming through.
Yes.
We have to, that gate that kept us locked in, that energy field that kept us locked in, that there is an opening. There is an opening so that we can transition into the fifth dimensional vibratory frequencies. In the Platonic and Neo-Pythagorean, Middle Platonic and Neoplatonic schools of philosophy, the Demiurge is an artisan-like figure responsible for fashioning and maintaining the physical universe. The physical universe, that is the
Mm-hmm.
simulated matrix.
Mm-hmm.
The Demiurge was adopted by the Gnostics. Although a fashioner, the Demiurge is not necessarily the same as the creator figure. We are that creator figure.
Yes.
You are that creator figure in the monotheistic sense. In other words, in a holistic sense. In a holistic sense. From a holistic divine perception. Because the demiurge itself and the material from which the demiurge fashions the universe are both considered to be consequences of something else. They are consequences of a purposefully, intentionally flawed emanation. Is everyone with me?
Gang.
Depending on the system, they may be considered to be either uncreated and eternal or considered to be the product of some other entity. We are that other entity, allegorized by the Ion Sophia. I'm going to connect all of this up, family, for us. This is
Come on.
what today is about.
Mm-hmm.
The word demiurge is an English word derived from demiurgus, a Latinized form of the Greek demiurgos. It is originally a common noun meaning craftsman, not creator, but craftsman or artisan. A craftsman does not, a creator creates the material that the craftsman or artisan utilizes in his practice. Do you all feel me?
Gang.
He is not the creator of wood, he just crafts wood. He's not the creator of iron and steel and brass, he just crafts those,
Mm-hmm.
artistically formulates those. But gradually it came to mean producer and eventually creator. Trying to fool us, trying to keep it hid from us. The philosophical usage of the proper noun derived from Plato's Timaeus, written in the 360 BC, in which the demiurge is presented as the creator of the universe. That was the switch that was designed to lock us in, family.
Yes.
The demiurge is also described as a creator in the Platonic 310 to 90 BC. That was setting us up, family, for the first century AD and the creation of New Testament Christianity and the
Mm-hmm.
church age. Again, we talked about that would further lock us in.
Yes.
In the various branches of Neoplatonic school, this is the 3rd century onwards. The demiurge is the fashioner of the real. Now we know that real is simulated, perceptible world after the model of the ideas, but in most Neoplatonic system is still not itself the one. You are the one that is in your wholeness, singularity, and oneness. In the arch dualist ideology, the various Gnostic system, the material universe is evil and the non material universe is good. According to some strains of Gnosticism, the demiurge is malevolent as it is linked to the material world. And so, this is why our ancestors held that view, because they knew that eventually we would have to shift from this 3D physical reality into the 5D non-physical reality.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, in others, including the teaching of Valentius, the demiurge is simply ignorant or misguided. So we're getting this picture of the demiurge. Reading further, one of the Gnostic mythos describes the declination of aspects of divine, that is, the fall into human form. Sophia, that is wisdom, the demiurge's mother, a partial aspect of the divine pleroma or fullness, the feminine aspect. Now, they say partial, but again, It's not actually partial. I'm going to show you why. The feminine always represents the fullness. It always represents both masculine and feminine aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Because where do males come from, if not
Mm-hmm.
mother?
Yes.
Male and female come from a mother of the divine feminine. So, again, they say a partial aspect, but not really, of the divine pleroma or fullness, desire to create something apart from the divine totality. Remember, this was purposeful, it was intentional, without the receipt of divine assent. In this act of separate creation, she gave birth to the monstrous Demiurge, and being ashamed of her deed, wrapped him in a cloud and created a throne for him to be within it. The Demiurge, isolated, could not behold his mother, nor anyone else, and concluded that only he existed, ignorant of superior levels of reality. He became then the god of the third and fourth dimensions. Is that clear?
Okay.
It is an energetic field it's a field of energy that controls the third and fourth dimension. The demiurge, having received a portion of power from his mother, sets about a work of, quote, creation, end quote. It was actually craftsmanship or artisanship in unconscious imitation of the superior pluromatic realm. He frames the seven heavens as well as all material and animal things according to forms furnished by his mother, working, however, blindly and ignorant even of the existence of the mother who is the source of all his energy. He is blind to all that is spiritual, but he is king over other two provinces. The word demiurgos properly describes his relation to the material. He is the father of that which is animal like himself. Thus, Sophia's power becomes enclosed within the material forms of humanity, themselves entrapped within the material universe. The goal of the Gnostic movements was typically to awake the awakening of this spark. What do we call the awakening of that spark, family? Kundalini energy. Kundalini energy. Are you all with me? Awakening the power, the innate or latent power or sleeping power of your subconscious, which is the serpent, which permitted a return by the subject to the superior non-material realities rather, which were its primal source. So this is what we're doing. First, a breakdown of the name Yaldabaoth in Hebraic form, and you're going to really get a higher understanding of what this energetic field, this dominant energetic field, this field of energy that is dominant over the third and fourth dimensions, you'll get a clear picture of what it is by breaking it down in the Hebrew. Now, no one has done this before that I know of. I've looked for it, but the ancestors led me to understand that this named Yaldabaoth is actually a combination of two Hebrew words, Ya'al and Debaoth. Ya'al and Debaoth. In Jeremiah 16 and 19, it says, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity and things wherein there is no profit. The word prophet, family, is the word Ya'al. It is
Mm-hmm.
H3276. We're going to break this down.
Okay.
The word Ya'al means to gain, to profit, to benefit from, to avail as a result of. The word Dava or Daba is H1738, and it means to be ill, to be unwell, infirm, or the word infirmity. So Yaldabaoth means to profit or to benefit from or avail or to gain from infirmity. Our
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
ancestors was brilliant, family.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Gang. Yes.
so
I see.
the word dava or dava, that's that H 1738. Dava or daba means to languish, to be sick, especially used of women in menstruation. Now, does menstruation only affect a woman physically?
No, that affects the male too.
Then
It affects her mental, emotionally.
absolutely, that's what I want to get to, brother. This energy field benefits from low frequency emotions. Are we on the same page, family?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
This is what we've been talking about. Those low frequency, down-turning emotions that can suck you in to that gravitational pull, into that energy field. Deve means sickness, loathing, languishing, or to be sorrowful. Is that a low frequency emotion?
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
demiurge
Yes. Dang.
is just the personification of an energy field that feeds off of or profits from low frequency emotions.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Moving
Brilliant
on.
show.
Come on. They want us.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we desire to know this, family.
Yes,
Know
absolutely.
these things. And Sophia desired to cause the thing that had no innate spirit of its own to be formed. Sophia, the feminine aspect, or actually the masculine and feminine aspect, desired to create something that had no innate spirit of its own. So it feeds off of your spirit or energy. Are you all with me?
Mm-hmm.
To be formed into a likeness and to rule over primal matter and over all the forces she had precipitated. So there appeared for the first time a ruler out of chaos, lion-like in appearance,
Mm-hmm.
androgynous. Lion-like in appearance, androgynous, having an exaggerated sense of power within him, and ignorant of whence he came to be, ignorant of wholeness.
Yes.
ignorant of the pleromatic realms of wholeness, where everything is whole, where energy is at rest, ignorant of that. Natural systems. Now, moving on here, now we're getting into a further energetic understanding of this. And this is going to take us right back to, family, power versus force. Bear with me here. It's going to take us right back into power versus force. Natural systems. Now, is a sea a natural system?
Absolutely.
Is a lake a natural system, family?
No question.
Come on, we're going to get right back to this polluted island of garbage, of space litter and space junk. Space is a natural system as well. Natural systems or morphic fields at all levels of complexity. Atoms, molecules, crystals, cells, tissues, organs, organisms, societies of organisms are animated, listen, organized, and coordinated by morphic fields, which contain an inherent memory. There is a continuous spectrum of morphic fields, including morphogenic fields, behavioral fields, family, mental fields, emotional fields, social fields, cultural fields, economic fields, etc. and so on. Please think with me. Please think with me, family. Connect with me
Hey,
on this energy
Eitai,
level. Go right ahead.
all things of an organic nature has a memory, a DNA code locked in.
Come on, brother. Now, it's absolutely correct. Now, that's in the physical now. There's an unseen field that corresponds to that. We're talking about now the 5D reality. What? Superimposed, or the 3D reality superimposed over the 5D reality. Go right ahead.
So it would be a reflection.
Yes.
So as it is above, so shall it be below.
Come on now. Yes. Yes. You got it. You got it.
Yep.
Flow with me, family. Flow with me now.
Come on, shows.
A field of dominance. Now, this is right out of power versus force. A field of dominance is exhibited, listen, by higher energy patterns in their influence over weaker ones. Higher energy patterns and their influence over weaker ones. This may be likened to the coexistence of a small magnetic field within a much larger field of a giant electromagnet. The phenomenological universe is the expression of the interaction of endless attractor patterns at varying strengths. The unending complexities of life are I think it says perflections of the endless reverberations of the augmentations and diminutions of these fields, compounded by their harmonics and other interactions. So we know that as we fail, more and more low frequency emotions and thoughts and behavior began to create and clutter these low vibrational fields of dominance in varying degrees of vibrational frequency. Are you all with me?
Yes. Okay.
And
Okay.
creates this. Now, as we fail, more and more people throughout the generations started feeding their garbage, lower frequency emotions, into a particular field. And it became tremendously strong. And we incarnated into that polluted environment, energetic environment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So currently, listen, we live in a sea of physical and mental forces that affect our moods, that is, our emotions, actions, and decisions. These forces, family, are subtle and in a constant state of flux. I'm gonna show us exactly where we swimming, where we incarnated into. Are you all seeing this?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Is that in
Uh-huh.
constant flux and motion?
Yes. Yes. Can shows. Absolutely.
Come on now, walk with me, family. These forces are subtle and in constant state of flux, motion, and change. Now, what we want to begin to develop, this is the next step. This is emotions 201. Emotions 201. This is the next level class. So we've been emphasizing recently, family, that we must be aware, we must be vigilant in monitoring our emotions moment to moment, converting lower frequency emotions into higher frequency emotions. We've repeated over and over again how to do this. Once you become proficient in this, there will be less and less need or necessity for you to be converting lower frequency energy, emotional energy, because you will be consistently vibrating at a higher frequency level. No fluctuation back and forth. You will
Mm-hmm.
have mastered your
Mm-hmm.
emotions. All right?
Okay.
You will have mastered
So
your emotions.
so once we master our emotions, essentially what we'll be doing is flipping right side up,
That's correct.
turning turning the proper way,
That's correct.
because then we'll start attracting nothing but the positive
Come on, brother.
energy.
You got it. You know this science, man. All of
Mm-hmm.
us know this
Mm-hmm.
science. All of
Mm-hmm.
us know it.
Mm-hmm.
Tapping into your memories, not your intellect now.
Okay.
So you all got it.
And Ita,
Yes.
just like with the trash that we see, same with the melting of the glaciers, because when you look at it from a divine aspect, what does a refrigerator do? A refrigerator holds minerals, holds and preserves minerals for a long time. So
Correct.
what is happening now with these glaciers that have been there since the ancient days are now releasing those vital minerals back then back into the sea for us.
Correct. That's one aspect of it. And that's an important. We're gonna get back to that. We're gonna get back to exactly what you're talking about at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
So once we begin to master our emotions, it means that we begin to be empathetic and sensitive to our own emotions, to
Yes.
our own vibrational frequency, to our own level of consciousness. I'm going to get the definition here.
Eitai, is
Yes,
this a correct statement? We will be solidly stable on high frequency vibrations.
you got it. You got it.
Thank you. I just wrote
So we
that
won't be
statement.
fluctuating. So that has tremendous implications from a divine power standpoint. Has tremendous implications, and we're going to get into that. First of all, I'm going to define this term empath for us, and I'll include it within the notes as well. I had neglected to do that. So here we are. Empath is defined chiefly in science fiction. That is, when you see science fiction, that's our real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A person with the paranormal ability to apprehend the mental or emotional state of another individual. But our ancestors gave us a they gave us an axiom that said, know thyself. First, know yourself. Once you know
Mm-hmm.
yourself, then you will know everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we control our emotions. We control our emotions and we stabilize our vibrational frequency at a steady high rate. Then uh, we're going to be able to start to read and apprehend other individuals' mental or emotional state. That's called the jet. And then beyond that, manipulate that. That's called the Jedi mind trick, to do little
Mm-hmm.
mind tricks on individuals that are vibrating at lower frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So, this next section, empath sensitives and M fields, these morphogenic fields, a dominant collective energy field defined as the attractor fields or M fields that New Era scientists such as Sheldrake, Hawkins are talking about, acts like a magnetic field of a particular quality of consciousness and energy. It could be a particular quality, higher quality or lower quality, higher frequency or lower frequency. Are you all with me?
Okay.
And they show a picture here of a vortex or a whirlpool in a small pond. See, the don't worry about that garbage and stuff like that. The ocean has a way of sucking that thing down a drain
Mm-hmm.
and dispensing with it in the inner bowels of the earth. Are you all with me?
Yes.
Drawing us into it just as our moon was drawn into the magnetic field of our Earth. So we talking about escape velocity. We have to escape this dominant magnetic field that has kept us in a downward attitude and kept us locked within this third, fourth dimensional reality. And that our solar system, planets and bodies are held in the gravity field of our sun. Well, we no longer want to be held in the gravity field of the sun, family. We want to be released into the cosmos.
Yes.
If we simply look at our natural environment, including the sea and space, littered with human and human tossed garbage and detritus, like the garbage barges and floating garbage islands adrift in the ocean, and increasing fields of space junk or litter, we'll have a good idea what's in the unseen environment and dominant collective energy field. It's been polluted over time, and we emanated or we incarnated into this current generation when that field was strongest and at its most polluted. Right at the bottom, family, right at
Mm-hmm.
the bottom, in Malkuth, the kingdom, where the symbol is the lion. Are you all with me? That's
Can.
Yaldabaoth.
Yes.
Yaldabaoth. He's ruling that current dominant attractor field is ruling right now. And it was unseen. That's why it said Sophia hid it within a cloud and did what? Set it upon a throne. One Gnostic mythos describes the declination of aspects of the divine into human form, the fall of aspects of the divine into human form. Sophia, the Demiurge's mother, a partial aspect of the pleroma, we already said it is the full aspect of pleroma, desired to create something apart from the divine totality or wholeness without the receipt of divine assent. In this act, a separate creation, she gave birth to the monstrous Demiurge, and being ashamed of her deed, wrapped it in a cloud, hid it, made it unseen, and created a throne for him to be within it. Put him in dominion. Put that energy in dominion and dominance and in supremacy. It rules over the simulated matrix.
Mm-hmm.
This is true if we find ourselves in a dominant field, which we do. That is what? Polluted, which it is. Are y'all seeing this?
Absolutely.
It is polluted with low energy, dense, unconscious, and characterized by norms of fear, greed, pride, arrogance, violence, envy, vindictiveness. All of those things that I named you right there, fear, greed, pride, arrogance, violence, envy, vindictiveness, those are characteristics, if you look very closely, of the Old Testament God. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell
Mm-hmm.
me I'm wrong that he wasn't.
Come on, shows.
Tell me I'm wrong that he wasn't envious and jealous. He says it
Right.
in his own
Come
mouth.
on.
I'm a jealous
Yes.
guy.
Right.
Tell
Right.
me he
He
wasn't
stated it.
violent.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't arrogant. I am,
Right.
there is no other.
Right.
And he was fearful.
Absolutely. Look, we breaking this thing down, expanding our level of cognition and consciousness, family. A powerful dominant stream or field can emit from someone's thought and energy presence. This is how you're going to be able to read people. Once you've controlled your emotions, you're going
Mm-hmm.
to stabilize at a
Mm-hmm.
certain vibrational frequency, and then
Mm-hmm.
you will be able to what? Read the thoughts and energy presence, which are emotions, of someone else, because they're going to emit it.
Yes.
You are going
Yes.
to be empathetic at that point. From your
Mm-hmm.
practice of knowing yourself and controlling yourself, you are going to become empathetic. And you'll be able to read someone else's thoughts or energy presence or read their mind, like they say. But we know that there's no such thing as a mind.
Mm-hmm.
We know it from an energetic standpoint, correct?
Yes.
But can also reflect the larger dominant collector attractor field that they are caught up in and are entrained by. So you'll be able to read that, and if necessary, if they desire, you'll be able to instruct them on how to convert that energy and
Yes.
and free them from that dominant stream
Mm-hmm.
or field. Does that make sense, family?
Perfect sense, shows.
Do y'all think that y'all could do? I'm just talking about when you imagine it. Can you imagine doing that for someone?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Y'all,
Yes.
y'all know how to do it. And it's not so much that I'm teaching you. I'm just putting you back in remembrance
Remembrance.
of
Yes.
something that you forgot
Mm-hmm.
during the emanation process. So again, we see uh, this trash vortex in the Pacific Ocean. This trash vortex. The work of physicist David Bohm, biologist Rupert Sheldrake, psychiatrist and consciousness teacher David Hawkins, and the late Dr. Emoto. Now they're mentioning these individuals, but I started out saying that this is our knowledge that they what? Appropriated.
Right.
And appropriate means to take something for one's own use, typically without the owner's permission. But in this case, we gave them permission. But they can't use it. That's why we gave them permission.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, they can't use it. They can't access this energy. So these individuals, as well as the teachings of the mystics, those are our ancestors. They mention them last. The teachings of the mystics and wise men and women of ages. Those are our ancestors. That's where they got this information from. Reflects this understanding. This appropriation is ongoing, family. This is the reason behind the age-old teachings about clearing, transmuting, and alchemizing, clearing, transmuting, and alchemizing certain lower qualities of energy. That's exactly what we've been focusing on in these recent sessions, isn't it?
Gang.
And encouraging us to lean into the positive attractor field via higher quality thoughts, words, reflections, images, and practices that weaken the lower field and at the same time strengthen the higher vibe or higher quality in energy field. Now they didn't put it like that, but I'm putting it like that because we on them right now.
Mm-hmm.
We ahead of them. We just circling back and allowing their framework to inform us, to remind us. All right? Any questions, comments so far? All right, moving on.
A couple of comments.
Okay,
Ever since you,
let me pause real quick, and then we'll entertain those. Okay, hold on. Questions or comments, fam?
Eitai, I have a comment. You said that we have been given tools to convert lower energy to higher energy.
That's correct.
Well, is it safe to say that is divine alchemy?
Oh, absolutely. That's what we're working.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely what we're working. It was an alchemical process to, which is just to say a scientific process to emanate and fall into physical material proportions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about holistically,
Yes.
totally into that. And so by reversal of that alchemical process, we're going to emanate back out again. So
Mm-hmm.
absolutely correct.
Oh,
How we doing, family?
oh, doing great.
yeah, doing great.
Very good.
Hey, I might just input that I think that David Hawkins' map of human consciousness, on which he lists the emotions that go with each level of consciousness, I think it's an excellent tool that you can use in
David,
this process.
it's indispensable. It's an indispensable tool. It's a critical tool with what that that again is at our disposal. Critical.
And remember, based on what you're teaching today, every level has an attendant corresponding attractor field, M field. Every level, there's an M field.
Right.
So the predominant, the M field that we are creating is high.
Absolutely.
And of course, but it's definitely all of us, we're meeting above the depth, above 200.
Yeah.
And I think you even mentioned, I know, it came to me that what is that, the level of neutrality? That's what, 300 or 350?
No, neutrality.
But you mentioned
it's 250.
250. Well, you mentioned we must be neutral about these things.
That's correct.
So, and right there, that's an attractive field. And we must be comfortable with being going from 250 and up.
That's correct.
As in our vibration.
That's correct, brother.
Okay, so I'm glad you emphasized it's indispensable. It's a very excellent. And David Hawkins' own life. If you have David Hawkins' book, you ought to read his personal accounts of his experiences.
Oh,
because he's talking about
Cosmic Egg.
Yeah, I'm talking. Cracking the Cosmic Egg is Chilton Pierce.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, they both had extraordinary lives, though. Yeah.
Yeah, they both had extraordinary life experiences.
That's correct.
And these are hints. These are hints for us. James Redfield talking about.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about his his life, but his whole writing novels, fiction,
Right.
but they're not really fiction.
Right.
They're talking about things, talking about powers that we're going to learn that we have.
Yes, sir.
So we got a lot of tools, and I think we if we use them, and then this experience is the greatest tool. This is, and I continue to say that Rofe Benia has established a center in Central America, and I continue to say that in the not too distant future, I would love to see us all there, in the flesh, consciously working on unifying and building this vortex that we're building, this attractive field, right there. I think it would be a powerful experience when we ultimately do it. And I think it will come when everyone has reached a level that will allow a number of us to participate.
Absolutely.
Dode. Hey, Dode, on
Okay.
that one, do you know Ak Daniel from New York?
Yes, I know him. I don't know him real well, but I know him.
Just like Benia, he moved to Puerto Rico. So that's that vortex that's starting to spin in that region.
Yeah, and we're beginning to put down some energy centers here in the West where we're supposed to.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we still have a lot of soldiers that have been connected in the Caribbean. I lived for a year and a half in St. Croix. And so there are a lot of these places. I visited Puerto Rico myself, and there's no accident. Puerto Rico's been experiencing some attacks.
Right.
But all of these things. But I definitely would look forward to, in the not too distant future, that some resources will come available, and we'll have a group of us.
Hey,
we'll go to one of these centers together. So these are some powerful places. Like I said, I lived in St. Croix for a year and a half, and it's a very, very powerful place, environment, very conducive to growing and sharing and achieving that restful state that allows you to build the energy vortex. So I'm excited.
I am as well, family.
Eitai.
Yes.
Also, this kind of hit me the day before yesterday. We took baby girl to the pool, and I had a blanket that had the U.S. Virgin Islands, on there, and I was looking at it, in relationship to where Florida is, in the Atlantic.
Yes.
Right. And I kept looking at all those islands, and I said to myself, is it possible that the U.S. Virgin Islands is the remnant of Atlantis?
I'm not certain about that. We're heading in that direction of Atlantis and Lemuria Mu to to focus the light on that. So once we get to that, we'll know.
Okay,
Look,
absolutely.
I'm gonna tell you, like I'm gonna start telling everybody, ask yourself, ask your ancestors.
Yes.
Gotcha. You got me?
I got you.
All right.
Got you. Yes. Question I'm gonna ask.
Eitai?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think my on the computer I'm cut off my mic, so I had to use the telephone again. But I can still see the screen.
Okay.
I guess I'm asking for some help in how to, because while you're talking, things come to mind that I've already experienced, but I'm cognizant of the fact that you said concentrate on the now, and I'm doing that on a daily basis, but always in what you're saying, like when you mentioned about being able to, I'm going to say control, for lack of a better thing, someone else's mind, because you can actually read them, literally see what their thoughts and what vibration that they're on. And what came to mind immediately was that in the past, but I'm saying it's in the past, but I was able to do that when I was in a relationship with my husband, father of my children, laying a pillow. And when I got up and told him what my dream was, he looked at me like, how did she know that? Because, I mean, we were in proximity. I was in the same proximity, sleeping in the same bed. And I woke up. Then years later, in another relationship, the same thing happened because I had a dream. And I said, well, this is what I dreamt last night. And I got the same reaction from the Muslim brother at the time. And I was like, it's just the visual. And that word that you use, imagination, I thought about imaging. And the images that come before me, sometimes now in waking hours, the images that come before me, that I literally see the images. That's what came to mind, is like how my consciousness has risen from even that. And so, needless to say, what I did when you mentioned it and it came to mind, and I said, oh, let me get rid of that. But I remember, but that's in the past. So that's what I'm supposed to do, I suppose, is like take that I'm saying like a tennis racket, but take it and hit it back. We're
not saying that reflecting on the past is that it's prohibited or it's a bad thing. We're not saying that at all.
Don't dwell in it.
But as we're, I want us to stay focused in the present as much as possible. There's no prohibition about even talking about things that happened in the past, as long as you are aware of the fact that you are staying vibrationally constant from a vibrational frequency standpoint. So what you told me is, it seems like that you have an empathetic nature, that you are already predisposed to empathy, which means that possibly in the past you developed this empathetic ability. Empathetic ability, and it's coming through. So in that case, that's excellent. That's excellent. So connect.
And remembering is good. Remembering is good.
Right. Yeah, we're not making no prohibition on the past, but as far as this work is concerned, we want to be present in the moment. Present in the moment.
Okay, I'm much clearer now. It was like, I was feeling that. I said, trying not to let that guilt begin. I said, he told me stay in the present. I'm remembering this, so I got you. Thank you.
Right, and remember, be flexible. Be flexible. We're not trying to make no rigid rules or something like that. We're giving guidelines.
That was my word.
Right.
But the remembering is good. Just keep in mind that thoughts will come to you, and then you just process them as you're in the present. That's a good thing. Everything that you said is good, and your growth has caused those memories to be unlocked.
There you go.
For your benefit now.
Right.
For your benefit in the now.
Yes.
So that this is David.
Yeah.
Kane. And remember, I said, if you're familiar with David Hawkins, you've got the book, go and look at his experiences. He starts off remembering his childhood. I mean, when he had a paper out. And then he goes on and reports his experiences from memory of how he manifested this empathy. So these things, your memories come to serve you in the now.
Yes. Yes.
If you get a negative memory, or a memory that draws you on the downward spiral, but those memories couldn't draw you on the downward spiral. They would have to keep you on the upward spiral.
Right.
So your memories come to help you, and whether it's trying to draw, even if it tries to draw you on the downward spiral, it can become a stepping stone.
That's correct.
Live in the present. Like we all got to be firmly in the now.
Right.
And then there is no time really but now.
Correct.
But all these,
correct.
That's right.
So the memories come to serve you in some way. All experience that you have, including your memories.
Correct.
But remembering in this season is very good, because just the word remember. Member again. Become a member of the whole again. Remember.
Come on.
Oh, I love it. Come on.
Become a member.
I'm glad I didn't wait for the after call.
Rejoin the whole.
Yes.
We are all rejoining our wholeness.
Yes.
Because it's a divine mystical experience.
Yes, it is.
That we'll understand more and more as we continue on the journey. We just keep on feasting upon this truth. But what you shared was, when you shared what you shared, I'm sure it was food for all of us.
Absolutely.
When you shared your experiences,
right. No doubt.
Your experiences.
Absolutely.
What they used to say in the past was, "You'll remember and you will know all by and by." Remember that statement?
Yep. Yeah. You'll understand it better by and by.
I think my ancestors have been talking to me for a long time.
Absolutely.
Now enlightenment every day, all the time. Toda.
We will eventually we'll remember that we planned this.
Right.
That our ancestors set us on the course, and remember we lost our memories. But eventually I remember this. Now I remember all of you. I remember you from the earlier meeting.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, family, if there's nothing else, we'll do this again. Same channel, same time.
Okay, wholeness and divinity.
Wholeness
and
divinity.
Thank you, wholeness, everyone.